Good morning, everyone. Today we will have some revision of our English subject. Fine. So let me start with the pattern of the question paper. As we all know that we are having our papers very soon. So the pattern of the question paper is as follows. As we all know that this is PT4 and we will be having the paper around of 40 marks. So in this paper, first section will be reading section, other section will be writing section, third section will be grammar section, and fourth section will be literature section. So as you all know that in grammar section there are lots and lots to do. So I'll just give you a short recap of what we are going to do today. Now first let me start with reading section. Reading section includes two things in which the first is unseen passage and the other is unseen extract from the poem. So unseen passages. What is the meaning of unseen passage? Unseen passage means the passage, a paragraph will be given to you, and from that paragraph you have to read, and after reading you have to answer some of the questions. So in this I can't help you out because there are millions and trillions of unseen passages that you can do. So you have to practice this by your own. Other is unseen extract from the poem. So unseen extract from the poem will include the extracts that are being taught to you in the poem. Fine. For example, you are having some poems as one of the poem which we are having now is on the grasshopper and cricket. Fine. So we can like just read the poem out and any extract can come from that poem. Okay. Now other is writing section. In writing section, what we have essays, notices, letters, applications, and synonyms. But what will come in your course? Only essays and synonyms. So, what is essay? An essay is a detailed description of a topic that is given to you people, and you have to write around 100 to 120 words in an essay. The essay will contain around 100 to 120 words and it will be of 5 marks. Now synonyms. What is the meaning of synonyms? Synonym are those words, the words which are of similar meanings. It's called as synonyms. Fine. After writing section, it comes literature section. In literature section, we will have question answers and word meanings. Question answers, I will give you around 8 to 10 questions and we will discuss about the answers and we have to learn all these answers plus word meanings. Then grammar section. In grammar section we have n number of things. So today I will include interjections, conjunctions and prepositions. So we will do accordingly. Now let us start with the literature portion. As we can see that we are having n number of questions here. So first let us do these questions number wise. First question, why were travelers attracted towards India? The answer of this question is, you can see here, the fame, Indian culture, wealth, religions, philosophies, art, architecture, as well as educational practices had spread far and wide. Also, the education system of ancient time was regarded as a source for the knowledge, traditions, and practices that guided and encouraged humanity. So, to the travelers, India was a land of wealth and wonder, and they were attracted towards our country. Now, I think, see, this is a question which I have made you write, but I would be very much happy if you try to do this thing by yourselves. Try to make your own answer, do not deviate from the path, try to write the answers in your own words. It's fine that you are grammatically wrong, it's completely fine, but you have to try how to write the answers by your own. Next question, why is the author not able to see Biju? So, this question, why the author was unable to see Biju? The simple answer, see, there are two ways in which we can answer any question. First of all, I have given you the summary of the chapter. We have read the chapter. You all have understood the chapter. Now what happens that we have to write the answers according to the question which is asked. Fine. So the answer in the questions which is given is the author was not able to see Biju because of the mist that concealed the hills. He could only hear his voice but could not see him. Okay, just tell me, when I think all of you have gone to the hills, right? So on hills, what is there? There is a lot of mist and fog that covers the whole hill. Fine, the mountain. So the main thing is that the author was unable to see Biju because of the mist and the fog. Right? This is the answer. Now coming on the third question, where do the snakes and rodents take shelter and why? In rainy season, as we all know, the water gets locked in the holes and the burrows. So where they will go? The answer is the grandmother asked the children, snakes and rodents take shelter in roofs, attics and godowns. They do so because their holes are flooded with rainwater. As I told you, the water enters their home, that's why they have to rush from there and they have to be there. Fine. Now the next question is, see, there are n number of questions. I think around 15 questions are there. We'll just discuss one by one. Why did the grandmother ask the children not to kill the chachundar? It is chachundar, not children. The grandmother asked chachundar because she was a auspicious lady and she used to think that the chachundars are good. Fine, they bring luck in the society. That's why she urged the children not to kill chachundar. This is the main answer. Now, coming on, where did the nuns and monks receive their education? This is the chapter which is this year only introduced in your books. Fine. So the chapter says, where were the nuns and monks lived? The nuns and monks received their education in the monasteries or viharas. What are monasteries and viharas? This you all must be knowing because I have told you this chapter. I have taught you this chapter very clearly. Fine. Now, next question is, what is Panini known for? What is Panini known for? Panini is known for an expert in language and grammar. He has authored one of the greatest works on grammar called Ashtadhyayi. Fine. What he has done? He has just written one book which is known as Ashtadhyayi. Fine. Now the next question is, monsoon season began. I don't think that we have to revise this answer. Next question is, what is the meaning of shrill? Shrill, what is shrill? Shrill is a very sharp sound. Okay. Next question, the poetry of the earth is not made up of words. What is it made of? What is it made of? The answer says, the word that is opposite in the meaning to the frost is warmth. The word frost indicates its cold or chilly experience. On the other hand, warmth in the poem refers to the cricket song which brings the warmth feeling. Okay, fine. Now, these are the questions from the poem. I don't think we have to revise these things. Okay. Now what we can do is, now we can just jump on the question number 13. What do you understand by the term holistic education? So what is the meaning of holistic education? Holistic education means the development of a child from the inner as well as outer environment. Fine. See, the answer says holistic education focuses on the development of both the inner and outer individual by taking care of both inner and outer self. It also focuses on the moral, spiritual, physical, and intellectual aspects of life. Okay, next question. Next question says that what was the role of gurus in pupils' life? Okay, what is the meaning of guru and pupil? Fine. Guru is a person who imparts education to a group of children or the students who are known as pupil. So here, the role of gurus in pupils' lives was to provide complete learning and help them to lead a disciplined life and make them realize their life's inner potential. Fine. Now coming on to the next question. What was the role? Sorry, last question. How did the society help in the education of the student? The answer for this question is how society helped. The society helped by developing many of the things in a student, internal as well as external. Fine, these are the question answers. Now we will go on to the grammar portion, which is as follows. Okay kids, so we have discussed about the literature part which is coming in your PT4 examination. Fine. Now we will go with the grammar portion. In grammar portion we have many things, but today I will include in fact only 2 or 3 topics: modal auxiliaries, then we will include preposition and interjections. Fine. Now I want to know what is modal auxiliaries. As you can see that modal auxiliaries are the helping verbs. They help other verbs to form tenses, voices and moods. They can be primary auxiliaries or modal auxiliaries. The verb be, have and do are the primary auxiliaries. They are used to form tenses, active and passive voice, questions, the negatives, etc. For example, she is eating, they are to be honored this week, she has worked hard. These are auxiliary verbs. Fine. Now we will come into modal auxiliaries. Let's see what are modals. Modals are those words which are used before certain verbs to express their possibilities. Fine. On it predicts the thing. For example, it might rain. Like बारिश अभी हुई नहीं है, तो it might rain. The weather is not good. That's why we are saying it might rain. Okay. Now we will read some definition of the modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries are verbs used before ordinary verbs to express different meanings such as permissions, possibilities, ability, necessity, certainty, obligation, etc. Some of the modal auxiliaries are can, could, shall, should, may, might, must, will, would, etc. and etc. For example, he may come tonight. I told you he may come. See, like he can come or he cannot come. Fine. These are two different things. But we are not sure whether he will be able to come or not. That's why we are saying he may come. Fine. Then other thing is, you are weak in the subject, you ought to see a teacher. We are advising something, right? That's why what he is saying, you are not good in any subject. So what you need to do, you ought to see the teacher. You should go and talk to a teacher that what he or she can teach you. Now, if you are asking for any permission, like if you are talking to your elders and asking permission from them, then what you have to use? May. May I come in? And when you are asking permission to some of your friend or an informal person, so at that time you can use can also. Fine. Like, can I borrow your pen? And if you are asking this as a permission from an elder one, then you can ask may. You have to ask may. Fine. Now we can do some of the exercises which are as follows. I'll just do one exercise because I do not have that much time. Okay. Pick out the auxiliaries. Like I have to finish the class in a given period of time. That's why we'll just do one exercise. pick out the auxiliaries from the following sentences. First, can I complete the work for you? In this, what? Like I am talking to a friend of mine. I am asking him, can I complete your work? Okay. Now it should be can. You should not be tense. You should not be tense. Like you are not sounding good. You are not sounding fine, but you should not be tensed. It's all the things are fine. You will be completely okay. Do not be tense. Would you help me? Would you help me in my work? क्या तुम मेरी मदद करोगे काम करने में? Okay. These are certain examples. You can just go through these. Now, what we will do? We will go to the prepositions. Now we will do prepositions. Okay. Okay, guys. So now let us start with preposition. What are prepositions? A preposition is a word that joins nouns, pronouns, or phrases to other words in a sentence. Fine. For example, I am giving you one very simple example, like he dash table, or let us say he sits dash table. The sentence is not complete, right? He sits table. It's not a complete sentence. So, preposition is a word that when added to a sentence, it gives its particular meaning. For example, he sits on a table. Yeah, he sits under a table, or he sits on the table, right? Now, the other uses of prepositions are, it usually shows the relationship of those words or phrases with other words in a sentence with regard to space, time, or reason. A preposition usually comes before a noun, right? In a sentence, okay, why, with what things the sentence is made up of? The sentence is made up of subject and object plus verb. Fine. So here the object is the noun that preposition come before is called the object of preposition. For example, the noun or a pronoun that is used with preposition is called an object. Fine. On the basis of this, prepositions can be divided into three parts, which are simple prepositions, compound prepositions, and complex or phrase prepositions. So, simple prepositions. Single word prepositions, for example, on, at, in, until, under, are known as simple prepositions, like in which only one word is used, are known as single or simple prepositions. Then compound prepositions. Compound prepositions are those prepositions when one or two more combine to form a single preposition, then we get compound preposition. For example, into, across, outside, inside, beneath, etc. Fine. For example, he is hiding behind the door. Behind, like these are the prepositions is made up of two or more words. Behind. Fine. Now complex and phrase prepositions. Whenever we use a group of words instead of a single word, it is known as a complex or phrase prepositions. For example, apart from, because of, due to, except for, etc. Okay, so this was about prepositions. Now we will cover one more topic, which is interjections. So in interjections, what do you mean by interjections? An interjection interjection is that word which expresses the feeling. Right now we will just discuss about definition of the interjection. An interjection is a word that expresses sudden feeling or emotion. Words such as hello, hurrah, ah are called interjections. Interjections are short utterances that are spoken when a person is very surprised. For example, we are having certain of the interjections here, exercise you can see here, like when it shows our feelings. Okay, for example, hurrah, we have won, hush, silence in the class. So these are the kind of interjections. I don't think we have to revise it much. Okay, now I'll just teach you one more thing, that is the use of modal auxiliaries. I have forgot to tell you this thing. What is the use of certain of the modal auxiliaries? Like I will just discuss can, could, may and might. Can is used to indicate permission. As I told you earlier also that you can go now. You can join us if you want. Can usually suggest potential or ability. For example, she can solve this problem easily. Can you break it? Like it shows, it is saying that he is giving the permission or it is just asking about the possibility. क्या तुम ऐसा कर सकते हो? Now, could is used to indicate the ability in the past. Like whenever we use could, it means that we are just doing the past form of can. Could you help me in the studies? Could I come to spend some time with you? Could is used in the past of can, I told you. For example, Tini said, I can read Spanish. Tini said that he could read Spanish. May and might. As I told, that may is used to express a wish. For example, may God fulfill your every wish. And one more thing, may is used to request permission formally. Like I told you earlier also, that if we are talking to our elders, we use may. Like may I sit here? May I use your pen? So these are the three topics which I have covered in grammar portion. I hope that this revision work will help you out a lot. Kindly go through the revision work and study good. All the best for your paper. Thank you.